Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Johanna here with our live climate dispatch, and soon you will see, joined by several fabulous colleagues, members of our Act on Climate VT Coalition, and we are here at the Statehouse on this Friday, March 4th. It is a beautiful sunny day, and it is town meeting day week, and we wanted to give you just a few highlights about what is happening in the legislature this session and the key priorities we really will measure progress by when it comes to doing our part on climate, ensuring energy stability and predictability and independence while we think about Ukrainians across the globe right now who are fighting for their democracy and for their peace. So thinking about them and wanting to do right by our fellow Vermonters as we again do our part on climate. So this is a really exciting legislative session. We hope you are reaching out to your lawmakers, and we're going to hit some of the highlights of the key priorities we have identified to move this session. And I am going to start by giving you a quick update on H518, the Municipal Energy Resilience Initiatives Bill. This is a really important priority for VNRC and for the municipalities across Vermont who want to help their communities become more energy independent, more resilient, and do their part again on climate. So this bill passed out of House Energy and Technology a couple weeks ago. It's now in House Appropriations. It has a $48 million appropriation attached to it. The appropriations committees are doing really hard work thinking about how they're going to prioritize many important investments that serve Vermonters well. The hope is that this $48 million will come from ARPA Capital Fund dollars. It's promising, and that's really exciting because about 40 million of those dollars will go to communities, a $200,000 maximum cap to invest in energy resilience initiatives in municipal buildings. $5 million to help communities plan for that, $2 million for technical assistance through RPCs to support communities, especially smaller communities, and availing themselves of this really important opportunity. So this is great news. I wanted to give you that brief overview, and then I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague from VPIRG, Ben Edgerly-Walsh, to give you the good news of the environmental justice bill that passed out of Senate Natural Resources and Energy recently. So Ben, take it away.
Thanks so much, Joey. Joey sort of stole my thunder. Obviously, the environmental justice bill is a top priority for our coalition of organizations this legislative session. The bill number is S-148, and it did pass out of the Senate Natural Resources and Energy Committee unanimously, 5-0, last Friday. That's very encouraging. This is a bill that was introduced late last legislative session and actually has gotten quite a lot stronger over the course of this session in Senate Natural. It, for the first time ever, lays out an environmental justice policy for the state of Vermont, defines environmental justice populations, sets out clear targets for adequate spending to benefit environmental justice populations, environmental justice areas in Vermont as we do work on the environment, as we do work on the climate crisis and transition to a cleaner energy economy. And we're really glad to see the hard work that Senate Natural did on it and the ways in which it got stronger over the course of the last couple of months. So this is going over to Senate Appropriations right now, and then to the Senate floor and over to the House. So again, as with all of these things, talk to your elected officials, let them know you support Vermont finally moving in a significant direction on environmental justice. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Rob Kidd from the Sierra Club, who's really been leading our coalition's efforts on clean transportation this legislative session.
Thanks, Ben. So I'm Rob Kidd with the Vermont Sierra Club. For those who have been following this issue closely, transportation accounts for 40% of our carbon emissions. So it's the biggest chunk that we have to do to solve climate crisis. At the beginning of the legislative session, the 60 legislators introduced the Transportation Innovation Act. We're hoping that this week the Transportation Committee will take that bill and incorporate it into the yearly transportation bill. There are some differences in what the governor proposed and what the legislators have proposed. We want to see at least $20 million going towards EV incentives and at least $11 million going to EV supply equipment. The governor proposes it for a long stretch of time, so the numbers may look the same, but he's really not coming up where the numbers need to be for the long term, because we need to do this stuff now and every year coming up forward. So please contact your representatives to make sure that this funding is all for this year. Also, to make sure is because of the federal rules about how money can be applied, we also need to make sure that this program dollars are funded for the long term. And if they're not applicable to federal dollars, then we have to take state transportation dollars. So make sure we do that. But I want to also add in, there's other programs within the H552, such as microtransit. We need to support them, transportation demand management, pedestrian access, and strengthen up those, electric school bus. We need to support those policies, so please contact your representatives and demand that you want these done. The transportation bill will be passed out of the committee by March 18th, so this next 2 weeks is very critical. So enough for that. Now I'm going to pass it off to Chase Whitting from Conservation Law Foundation.
Hey everybody, so as you know, thermal emissions in Vermont are about 1/3 of the state's overall emissions, the second largest chunk from all of our sectors. The Clean Heat Standard is an important policy that's designed to address that enormous chunk of emissions and bring them down. When first introduced, the bill had a lot of potential, and we worked really, really hard to improve certain areas to make it even stronger. It got voted out of committee on a 7-2 vote, and it's going to most likely advance to the House floor in the next couple of weeks for a vote there. And then after that, we're looking forward to working in the Senate to improve the bill even further. And so, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Peter Sterling to talk to us about renewables.
Hi, I'm Peter Sterling with Renewable Energy Vermont. I want to take a minute to talk about something that's behind the curtain, but that's real important if we're going to move forward to end our reliance on fossil fuels, and that's modernizing our electric grid. You know, the transformers, the poles, all the hardware that helps Vermonters get clean electricity every day. The governor has proposed a historic level of spending to help us modernize our electric grid, something that really has held us back from converting to renewables. We are grateful that seems to be moving forward through the legislature, because as we try to comply with the Global Warming Solutions Act, as we try to meet the challenge of climate change, we're asking all Vermonters to really move away from fossil fuels, which means electrifying, switching to electric run heating systems, switching to electric cars. We have to ensure that not only are we getting electricity to Vermonters, but it comes from the right sources, which is, we think, more renewable energy, particularly in-state renewable energy. So we at REV, and I think many in our coalition, would like to see a time when we can have more solar, more wind power in Vermont, helping Vermonters be self-reliant and resilient and have a clean energy future. Thanks. And next up is Jordan from Vermont Business Responsibility.
Hey y'all, great to see you. Let's talk budget a little bit. So I know we talked about historic investments in climate action, and really without the dollars and cents to make this happen, our efforts are going to fall flat. So let's take a look here. We have an unprecedented amount of state and federal funds flowing into the state, and with that, we have a historic opportunity to make significant investments in anything from weatherization, electrification, to building the climate workforce of tomorrow. So our groups, working together as a coalition, are asking for over $150 million to help support climate action in Vermont and take our work to new heights. Now I recognize, and we want to give credit where credit's due, that some of the governor's numbers, top lines, look really fantastic, but ultimately we have to make larger investments to meet this moment, to move at the pace and scale necessary to not only meet the needs of our communities and our ecosystems, but also our shared economy. As all of you know, investments in climate action yield strong returns. So let's get to work. We're excited to keep this opportunity going. And I will turn it over to Lauren Hierl to close us out.
Thank you. So, as you can see, it was great to get the group together. There's so much passion and expertise for climate action, and we know that you all share that as well. We always like to end these with a call to action, and it being town meeting week, it is a great time. Your lawmakers are home. Reach out to them. Give them a call. Send them an email. Ask them to act on the climate agenda. That is the things you've been hearing about today. Significant investments in climate action, things like weatherization, transforming transportation, modernizing our electric grid, the Clean Heat Standard, and so on and so forth. The Environmental Justice Bill, municipal efficiency. We'll put the link to the common agenda so you can see that, but take a moment to reach out, share your passion, your interest in them advancing strong climate action. We'll be back with you next week. Enjoy your week.
weekend and it's a lovely sunny day.